Feeling overwhelmed is typically in that same bucket as stress and anxiety. And it's a bucket that we want to throw away. But as a new dad, it seems like that bucket is always by your side. As a new dad, you get to experience all kinds of new things that you are completely clueless about when it comes to your new child. Then you add in your finances and your relationship and your job and your friends and your family, and you just have one big mess of overwhelm. So in this video, we're going over tips for new dads when feeling overwhelmed. Let's get you back on track and feeling good. Hey guys, I'm Jason Kreidman and welcome to another episode of Dad University. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on that notification bell so you know when our videos are uploaded. Also, it really helps us spread our message when you share these videos. So maybe you know a couple of people who might benefit from this. Please share it with them. I'd love to get some feedback from you. What is something that causes you to be overwhelmed as a new dad? Leave your feedback in the comment section below. The truth? We can't handle it all. We think we're supposed to be able to handle it all. In fact, we often think that we can handle it all. But being a new dad is not easy. I'm never going to describe being a new dad as easy. But here's the thing. Nothing that's really important is easy. Think about that. Nothing that is really important is easy. Here are some tips for new dads when feeling overwhelmed. Number one, write them down. What are all of the things that are making you feel overwhelmed as a new dad? Put them in order from the biggest, most overwhelming thing down to the things that aren't as overwhelming. And give them a percentage of the overall total. So is there one thing that is providing 75% of your stress and anxiety and overwhelm? If so, writing these things down and putting them in order can give you a little bit more perspective on maybe the things that are a really big deal versus some of the things that aren't as big of a deal. Number two, get it out. That means talk about it. You don't want to keep those overwhelming feelings inside of you. It is not good for you. So maybe you have a friend or a family member, a local support group, or even online support group, a therapist, somebody that you can talk to and get those emotions and those feelings out of feeling overwhelmed. Now, it doesn't mean somebody that you can complain to, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Getting your feelings out and talking about it is often a really good way to feel better about it. I remember battling my parents about this when I was younger. I did not want to talk about my feelings. But my mother insisted, she was a communications expert and an author. And so for her, talking about feelings was just necessary. That's what you did. But I didn't want to. I was the average teen or the average young adult that just really didn't want to talk about it. But my mom forced me to talk about it, and she'd sit there and wait until I talked about it. And what I realized is that as I began talking about things and how I was feeling, I would start feeling better. And so it is something that I can personally endorse, that getting it out does help you feel better. I touched on this before, but I want to make it one of the points. Number three, stop complaining. Here's the thing. Nobody wants to hear you complain, and it typically doesn't get people to want to help you or listen to you. Complaining is basically wasted energy, wasted time. If you feel the need that you have to complain, you're just a complainer and you feel this absolute need to complain, then complain to the person that it actually matters to, or to the person that can actually do something. So let's give the example. If you are upset with your wife, but you're complaining to your brother or sister about it, that doesn't solve anything. Vice versa, if you have an issue with a family member and you're talking to your wife and complaining to your wife about it, it doesn't solve anything. You may think that you feel better by talking about it and complaining, but nothing gets solved and you won't feel better. So please stop complaining. Number four, determine what you can control and what you can't control. If something is making you feel overwhelmed and you can't control it, You have to figure out a way to let it go. So let's give an example. You have a sick parent, and that is horrible, and it's making you feel overwhelmed. But you don't have any control over it. So you have to figure out a way to have it keep you from feeling overwhelmed. So maybe you go to counseling, maybe you learn to manage those feelings, maybe you learn to talk about it. You have to learn that if you can't control something, you have to let it go. Now, on the flip side, if it is something that's making you feel overwhelmed and you have control over it, then you have to do something about it. Remember, we said don't complain, stop complaining. But if you can control something, then you have to take action and do something about it. Let's say it's your job and you're not making enough money. Maybe you then need to consider getting a different job. Now, that may not seem very easy. It may seem overwhelming in itself to put your resume out there and go interview. But you need to take these steps and realize that the things that you can control, you have to then go after them and take steps to change them. Otherwise, stop complaining and don't worry about it. But if there is something that you can control and you're complaining, you got to do something about it. Number 5, remember you are not alone. It may feel like you are the only person in the world going through this, but you're not. Many people have gone through similar things and have been okay. And that's what you have to remember. Now, hopefully, the fact that other people have gone through it makes you feel a little better because they've come out okay on the other side. But as things are overwhelming, realize you're not alone. Other people have experienced this. You're going to be okay. Number 6, ask for help. I know, it's a crazy idea. A man asking for help? Jason, this is revolutionary. Listen, it is perfectly fine to ask for help. Somewhere along the lines, in some part of history, it was thought of that it wasn't okay for men to ask for help, that they have to do it by themselves. They can't ask for help. That's not the case. It is perfectly acceptable to ask for help. So as a new dad and you're feeling overwhelmed, you may need to ask your partner for the assistance or maybe ask family members for help. Whatever it is, break those things down that are making you feel overwhelmed and figure out people in your life or in your network that can help you and ask for help. Number 7, practice gratitude. I've said this a lot. I'm going to say it again. Gratitude is the antidote for depression. Gratitude is the antidote for stress and anxiety. Gratitude is the antidote for feeling overwhelmed. So what does that mean? You can practice gratitude and overcome many, many things. It is nearly impossible to feel depressed and grateful at the same time. Try it. When you sit down and you think about what are the things that you are grateful for, and make them simple. A roof over your head, the ability to eat, your health, whatever it is. Practicing gratitude is an awesome way to get over feeling overwhelmed. Now, as a new dad, I will say get on this immediately. Don't wait until things have gone too far. Gratitude is something that you should be practicing all the time so that you don't get into those feelings of really overwhelm as well as getting into some kind of rut. Practicing gratitude literally can prevent you from feeling that way. You want to be happier? Practice gratitude. You want to get along better with others? Practice gratitude. We give you a lot of different ways on how you can practice gratitude, and it's easy and it feels great. Number 8, stop the perfectionism. You don't have to be a perfect dad to be a great dad. You don't have to be a perfect husband to be a great husband. That's the problem, is that we often think that we have to be perfect at all these things all the time, and it's impossible. You might be a great dad one day, but you know what? You didn't do much at work. Or vice versa. You stayed late and you were just a rock star at your job, but you missed the family dinner. So that's how everything has to work in harmony. Some things are going to give, some things are going to take, but you have to learn how to make them all work in harmony and stop the perfectionism. Realize that you can't be perfect at all of them all the time. And that cool thing is that you get to start every day new. And when you're a new dad, you're gonna have those days where you definitely do not feel like a perfect parent. But that's okay. Stop the perfectionism. And what you'll see is that a lot of these feelings of feeling overwhelmed are often generated by us trying to be perfect in whatever capacity or whatever it is that we're trying to do. So when you stop the perfectionism, you will reduce some of your overwhelm. These tips for new dads can certainly apply to other stages of your life, but as a new dad, it seems to just really apply. That overwhelm really starts to set in. There's a lot of transition when you're a new dad. You know, in addition to having a child, you might have differences in your relationship that you're experiencing, or some nuances at work, or, you know, I know people that because they are getting a bigger family now, they need to get a bigger place to live, and so there's financial strain. There's all kinds of things that transition when you have a child. And so that feeling of overwhelm is common. But I want to tell you, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You just have to realize of all these little things that you can do to try to make it a little less overwhelming for yourself. I want to hear from you. What's one of the biggest things causing you to feel overwhelmed as a new dad? Leave your feedback in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, you don't want to miss what we have for you in our other videos. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click on that notification bell so you know when our videos are uploaded. Also, we really appreciate those shares, so maybe send it to a few people that you think might enjoy it. We'll see you next week.